Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, zinniawealth.com. ZINNIA wealth.com. We want you to have help with your retirement planning. That's why Sharice is here. That's why we do this show. But we also know that there's a lot of people that try to do this on their own. So I've got a story here about the top 5 things. And this comes actually from financial advisors. When people kind of give up and say, okay, check my work. Am I doing this right? And I know that you get a lot of people that come in and say the very same thing. This is what advisors say people forget. Okay, here's the 5 things. Number 1, they don't think about inflation. Number 2, they don't think about how long they might live. They think, oh, I'll never live that long.
True.
Okay. They don't think about how much healthcare is going to cost. They go, I'm on Medicare, I'm fine. No. And they don't think about what their income is going to be, and they need rising income in retirement. And the last one is they overestimate their investment returns. They think, well, I got 20% last year. Isn't that an every year thing? No, it's not. So, Sharice, talk to me about this.
That's a good one.
Is this a good list that you see here, or are there more that you see? Talk to me about this.
You know what? Let's keep it simple. This is a great list.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing this up.
All right.
There's some funnies down there. So the first one was the impact of inflation. So, 1 out of 5 people across the country have an income plan. 1 out of 5. Wow. That means 1 out of 5 of you who are listening today know how much income you're going to need in 10 years, right? Your grocery bill is going to be 10 grand in 10 years. It's going to be 14 grand or 15 grand, right? And so do you have enough money saved to keep up with inflation? And do you have an income adjustable inflation plan in your total plan? And only 1 out of 5 people. That is a huge number. So we are trying to get it to 3 out of 5 people, at least in our community, and hopefully 5 out of 5, because we want to show you these income plans because you need to see it before you retire. And if you are retired, we got to figure out a plan to make sure that we can make that adjustable every year, right? The iPhones, my gosh, they're expensive. And retirees want the new iPhone just as much as the young people do. I mean, they're keeping up with all this stuff. So inflation protection plan. Number 2, how long will you live? And I do nothing but chuckle at all of you who come in and say, I won't make it to 80. I'm like, yeah, you are. Right. And I'm going to ask you, is mom and pops alive? Yeah, they're alive. Oh, really? You're not going to live to 80, but mom and pops are alive. Oh, I'm just not as healthy. I'm telling you, they're kicking you out of the hospitals quicker and sicker, and they're having every new medication and surgery out there for you over the next 5 to 10 years. You can count on living a little bit longer, in my opinion. And those questions are important that we ask everyone who walks in. How long did grandma and grandpa live? Right? And if you got somebody who lived 100 in your family, we probably need to run your income plan to 90 years old at least, right? So those are the kind of conversations we have to have. We build the income plan based on that. So some of you are like, I'm going to live to 80. I'm going to run a plan to 90. Some of you say, I'm going to live to 90. Yet we had grandma and grandpa live to 100. I'm going to run it to 100, right?
Got it.
And because I think people are going to be living longer than ever. So we want to make sure they don't underestimate life expectancy, right?
Okay.
Number 3, the cost of health care. So yes, you retire, you are 65 now, and you have that thing called Medicare, that red, white, and blue card that you have waited your entire life for this big savings event. And it is a big savings event. Trust me. If you're paying $800 to $1,000 at an employer group, or you had individual insurance, you're going to love Medicare, right? I love Medicare. But that's not the only part of healthcare, right? There's prescription drugs. There's deductibles. It's copays. Those aren't so much of a big deal to me. But healthcare in general, what if we need home healthcare? What if we need long-term care? What if a spouse passes away and the second spouse needs long-term care? Do we have a plan to call the kiddos to take care of us? Do you even want that to happen? What is the plan? Because the average cost, Randy, for retirees, when it comes to healthcare, they say like $280,000.
Oh, at least. Yeah.
So we got to have a plan for that. Like, where's that bucket? So we address that bucket when we're talking about income planning and inflation planning. It's very important. Like, where do those dollars come from? Let's make sure that's good to go. Now, number 4, what your retirement income will be. So what are the paychecks? what is your retirement income going to look like? Okay, we're going to get Social Security. Of course, most people do. Do you get a pension? Okay, you do. This couple over here does not. The people who have pensions, you made my job really easy, right? And then we're just doing a little light lifting, and we don't have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting on the actual investment plan. But the people who don't have a pension, do we need to create you a private pension? Do we want to make sure those fixed bills are always covered, even if a spouse passes, and add in that income? And then do we add in other income streams? Because when we talk about inflation protection, in 5 years, we're going to click on another stream of income. And 5 years from there, inflation's hitting us again, right? We're going to click on another inflation check. And so making sure that those checks arrive when they're supposed to arrive and creating a plan built out for that. I think that's our clients' favorite part of what we do, because they can see the picture like, okay, so I'll turn that on then. Okay, great. Okay, well, Sharice, I want to, based on what you said, let's front load retirement and these go-go years, let's spend more now. And then we'll turn off that check. I'm like, okay, let's do that. I like that idea. So we're coaching people up, and we're very interactive, so that income plan is crucial, and having different checks come in at different times. Number 5, your investment returns. Now, Randy, you said people overestimate their investment returns.
Hey, last 2 years we've had over 20%. Isn't that going to happen every year?
I know. That is the truest thing I've ever heard, because we forget what once was and what could happen, right? And it's not too often we get 2 years back-to-back 20%, right? Or 3 years back-to-back 20%. So we want to be pessimistic on our plan and then hope for the best. So let's plan for the worst and then show you, okay, but if the best does happen, this is what it looks like. But can you live off the worst? So we got to have like that in-between balance plan, taking advantage of when markets go up, we make money on all things. When the markets go down, we still make money on some things, but not all things, right? But making sure those checks are there and still available for you to live on without hemorrhaging your accounts, and selling when the market's down, that's a big no-no. Making sure you're checking once, you're checking twice, and you're being prudent about what you're doing. And because you know what's going to do? It's just going to provide confidence when you're on your trips or visiting family, enjoying life, that the plan is intact. There's going to be some bobbing and weaving, and there's going to be conversations as things approach us.
Well, there is one thing that you can do to avoid all this, and that's sit down with Sharice and let her go through it for you, because that's what she does every day. Give us a call, and let's go through your list. It's 833-368-3680. 833-368-3680, or online, ZinniaWealth.com, ZINNIA Wealth.com. Hit the button that says Complimentary Retirement Consultation.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Coffee Talk podcast. If you have questions or would like to begin the process of building a tailored retirement plan, call Zinnia Wealth at 833-368-3680 or find us online at ZinniaWealth.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. The firm only conducts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded from registration requirements. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Insurance products are offered through Zinnia Wealth Management, LLC, Florida license L078655, and Sharice Rivers, Florida license P037744. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, and Zinnia Wealth Management, LLC are affiliated entities. The information presented is believed to be current. It should not be viewed as personalized investment advice. All expressions of opinion reflect the judgment of the presenter on the date of the podcast and are subject to change. The information presented is not an offer to buy or sell, or a solicitation of any offer to buy or sell any of the securities discussed. You should consult with a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies discussed. Any legal or tax information provided in this podcast is general in nature. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation. Any client experience discussed on this show are unique to that client. Annuity and life insurance guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. If you withdraw money from or surrender your contract within a certain time after investing, the insurance company may assess a surrender charge. Withdrawals may be subject to tax penalties and income taxes. Persons selling annuities or other insurance products receive compensation for these transactions. These commissions are separate and distinct from fees charged for advisory services. Insurance products also contain additional fees and expenses. Social Security rules and regulations are are subject to change at any time. Always consult with your local Social Security office before acting upon any information provided herein. References to specific investments should not be construed as being past specific recommendations. The returns for various indices discussed in this podcast do not represent the performance of the firm or any of its advisory clients. Returns do not reflect the impact that advisory fees will have on an investment. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All investment strategies have potential for profit or loss. Different types of investments involve higher and lower levels of risk. There is no guarantee that a specific investment strategy will be suitable or profitable for an investor's portfolio. Historical performance returns for investment indexes and/or categories usually do not deduct transaction and/or custodial charges or advisory fees, which would decrease historical performance results. There are no guarantees that a portfolio will match or outperform a specific benchmark. Investments in fixed income products are subject to liquidity risk, market risk, index rate risk, credit risk, inflation risk, purchasing power risk, and taxation risk. Because bond prices fluctuate continually, their yields change constantly.